When I left the US Embassy there, I was so happy. I like put my hands over my head or something, or like I cheered or something, and the armed guard gave me a round of applause, and he had no idea what I was cheering about, clearly.
What you also had the cost of was $2,350 to expatriate. Mm-hmm. Why did you choose the Bahamas to go and do that?
Because it was actually the quickest way to do it. Mm-hmm. There was like I think a 12-hour cooling off period, where other embassies, it's about 2 weeks or so.
Or much more.
It was extremely easy. And pretty stress-free, and I was recommended to me. I contacted a lawyer too, and he was most familiar with the Bahamas, and convenience for me, location-wise, it worked out pretty well.
Yeah, I remember there's a circular that came out probably 2018, so when you were just starting the process, and it may have been the Bahamas, where they were almost like, we have like room, like if you're looking to expatriate, like where's your place? Like they get a bonus, or I mean they don't, but like if you know, it was like, come on down. I mean, we have open spots, and I think it may have been the Bahamas, but yeah, you're right. Some of these embassies, they really do take a long time. So you went down there. Now you're not a resident of the Bahamas, you're not a citizen of the Bahamas. They were perfectly cool with you doing that. They don't really care.
Yeah. I mean, I had at that point a U.S. passport to enter the embassy, and I remember very specifically, I had wait in this room where there's a lot of people there are to apply for visas to enter the U.S. Mm-hmm. And I was struck by this image of like this line of people who are either wanting to visit family or maybe try to work there, and there's these guards with the glass in front of them, and they have no privacy, and these guards are like asking them really kind of personal questions for the whole room to hear. And I just kept thinking, I'm so glad I'm making the best decision right now, like get me out of here. And it was really ironic of the juxtaposition of what I was doing versus what everyone else was trying to do.
I went like right before Christmas, and so maybe because it was right before Christmas, they weren't doing these applications, or I think they stagger it, because I think in the Bahamas maybe the schedule's more flexible, but when I went, it was bone quiet. But it is interesting to hear that experience, and so then they call you back, and you get like the higher level person, right? And you get your own private room, and we don't have to talk about exactly what they asked you, but basically you told them what you wanted to do, and then they said, what, come back tomorrow, it sounds like.
No, actually, my first meeting was in the morning, and then my second meeting was at like that end of the day, like 4 o'clock or something.
Go have lunch and come back.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
And
they pretty much they were asking me, making sure no one's forcing me to make this decision, and like pretty much that was their main concern. And again, the irony was that the man interviewing me was roughly the same age, and he was struck by how young I was wanting to do this. I mean, it is a big decision. It affects the direction of your life forever, because you can't go back. But for me, that's great.
So when was this? This was early 2019.
Yeah.
And
I think February 2019.
Right. Okay. So a little over a year. And have you tried to go back?
No.
Do you want to go back?
Especially not now.
Right. Well, right. Do you want to go back?
I mean, there's special situations where I feel like I would want to, but the only reason I would ever want to go back is to visit family or something. But for me, it's maybe I had a lot of conversations with my family before this happened, and they were very supportive of this decision, making sure that I was pursuing what I wanted, and it was going to benefit me, and not to let them kind of hold me back, which helped. But still, there's attachment there. So that would be like the main reason I would want to go back. But even so, it's so much better to meet up with them in somewhere beautiful and around the world, and for me to be the encouraging factor for them to get out and see other places and open their eyes as well.
Patrick Bet David, you may know of who came out over July 4th with a kind of love it or leave it hypothetical offer of what if the government paid you $250,000 to give up your citizenship and bought you the one-way plane ticket, by the way, as a way to kind of stick it to the America haters. I suppose you would be happy to take the 250, right?
Oh, in a minute.
Yeah. The question, people are asking, is that taxable? But is that like, I mean, do you get it pre-expatriation or post? Like, does that count towards the exit tax criteria?
Yeah, exactly.
But you would take it. Are you an America hater? Are you one of the evil America haters?
No, I think that, if you want to live in the U.S., great. I think that it's worth it to understand that other options do exist if for whatever reason you were uneasy about it or, not happy about your current situation. Other options do exist. And if that's something that someone wants to pursue, go for it. Isn't that like part of the freedoms that we're supposed to be celebrating, is the ability to live your life however you see fit, as long as you're not causing direct harm to other people or something like this. So yeah, I don't hate America. It just wasn't for me. I'm not out here like actively spewing hate.
It does seem like the freedoms come with a caveat, and folks are so quick to label. I mean, I can tell you in my experience, I don't know if you feel the same way, it's almost a cleansing to say, all right, it's not my thing anymore. I don't have to associate with whatever it is. If you hate Trump, you're not part of Trump anymore. If you hate Obama, you're not part of Obama. I mean, the culture, whatever it is, it's not my thing anymore. There's almost, I almost sometimes feel like I've forgotten some of the things that 10 years ago really bothered me. I don't know if that's the same thing you've seen.
I'm not sure. Maybe it's still a little bit more fresh for me.
Sure.
But it's kind of like a toxic relationship. If it's something that you want to get out and you've been waiting for, and then you have the opportunity, for sure it's a relief. Cutting away something that isn't serving you. Pursue your best life.
Because one thing I do always say is, listen, this is one thing that you can do. It sounds like for you and I, perhaps more than for some of the folks that are talked about in the media, it is a personal thing. It just doesn't resonate with you. It doesn't resonate with me. Why have this thing you don't feel good about it? It's not really all about the money, is it?
No, I mean, ever since I started traveling in 2014, it was like I couldn't unsee the world, and I couldn't imagine myself living, if I was going to live anywhere in the U.S., it'd be probably near my family, because that is just how I was raised. And I just couldn't imagine myself either living separate from my family in locations where, had other benefits. But whenever I would come home and visit, it was just like, okay, how long do I have to be here this time? I loved visiting my family, of course. They're great. But the fact that I had to be in that place, I don't know, it was just, I just felt like I wasn't going anywhere. I felt like it was a pretty small town. Not a lot of exciting things happening, and maybe that was it. Just further, blew the flames of me wanting to get out of there, because I never saw a real future. I never really wanted to live in the U.S. permanently. From very early on in my travel days, I only went there to see family, or because I had to work or something to afford my next trip. Those were really the only reasons I would go home.
I always say, this is not for everybody, but you're the crypto expert. What do you tell other crypto people? Is it something you encourage people to do? Is it something you say, hey, this is an option on the table? Do you tell them just to get the second passport and then wait and see? I mean, what's your advice to crypto folks?
Well, again, I haven't really been that public about talking about the renouncement side. I've certainly spoken a lot about getting a second citizenship as like a backup plan. But absolutely, the whole concept of cryptocurrencies being borderless and being free to transfer across borders, it plays perfectly into, especially if you're holding one particular citizenship that specifically hinders your ability to participate in that system. It kind of points a spotlight at the fact that country is very controlling. And I'm sure I'm going to be speaking more about, my experience of having renounced my citizenship and things like that. But it is a personal decision, and I feel like it's hard to like recommend that to someone because it does have serious repercussions, and especially if you have family or something that might not be. I mean, I can't imagine I'd actually be able to follow through with this if my family wasn't supportive of me. That would be incredibly difficult just from an emotional point of view. Would probably have to go to like a psychiatrist or something to deal with the issues from that. But yeah, it is an option, and it's something that you should definitely look into, especially if you can have like a viable way. If you've been pursuing a life outside of the U.S. anyway, and you can cut ties with it, then that just definitely makes sense if all that aligns for you.
How can Nomad Capitalist help you? 4 ways. Number 1, subscribe to our channel and click the notification bell to make sure you get our new video every day. Number 2, get a copy of Nomad Capitalist, the book. You'll learn a lot of my personal experiences over a dozen years of studying this stuff, as well as exactly some of the strategies that you can use to build your Nomad Capitalist plan. Number 3, if you're not sure where to start, but you want to come and learn from my team and I, you want to come and mingle with like-minded people, learn more about our live conference, Nomad Capitalist Live. It's coming up soon. And number 4, if you want some help right now because you've got a burning issue, you need something solved, you want to lower your taxes, get a second passport, or build the Nomad Capitalist lifestyle of your dreams, go to nomadcapitalist.com and click on Become a Client.